Alright everybody, just calm down, okay? We got a great replacement director on the way right now. He's fantastic. He loves space. He did that one Tom Hanks movie, what was it called? Who Soon We Have a Problem? Apollo 13, that's the one. Anyways, he's the perfect candidate for the job. We'll be absolutely fine. Now, all in favor of canceling Kenobi a Star Wars story?
I got a really good feeling about this.
Since The Last Jedi, fan division over the Star Wars franchise has never been higher. It can be hard to keep that hype train going, especially when you're 2 movies in and you made $3 billion. If you think about it, The Last Jedi was kind of like X-Men Apocalypse. Not terrible, but for some fans, it managed to undo all the good of the last couple movies. Enter stage left, Solo, a Star Wars story. If you follow the news surrounding this film's production, then you know there's quite a bit of drama behind it. From the directors being switched out, to multiple reshoots, to the leading man needing an acting coach, how could this be anything but a disaster? For the most part, Ron Howard manages to pull it off, giving us a Star Wars movie that, while wasn't needed, is much better than expected. Acting coach aside, Alden Ehrenreich does live up to the mantle of Han. His arrogant attitude and his fast talking is what makes this young hoodlum version of Han work so well. It's nice that they made a clear distinction between this Han and this Han. I thought the whole when Han met Chewie setup was really well executed. I won't give too much away, but they meet in a fight for survival scenario. The Star Wars movies have constantly told us that they're good out of getting out of sticky situations together, so it makes sense that their first time working together would be them getting out of a sticky situation. Han even says, once they're done, they can just go their separate ways and never see each other again. Obviously, that doesn't happen. The movie was a bit of a genre blend. It had elements of a western, a heist movie, even a war movie at one point. There's one scene in this movie that feels a lot more like a war movie than the entirety of Rogue One. If they do decide to do nothing but anthologies after Episode 9, then I hope that they do a sort of Save It Private Ryan-esque down-in-the-dirt trench warfare type of Star Wars movie. That'd be pretty cool to see. It'd be a new take on the Star Wars universe. Now, I gotta talk about Donald Glover as Lando. Give the guy props, he's been killing it in both the music and the movie industry. He does a fantastic job of portraying the iconic character, including the list that Billy D. Williams had. Smart move on Donald's part. The action is pretty neat too, as expected with any Star Wars movie, but the Kessel Run, let's just say it lives up to the legend. This is technically Solo Origins, so you gotta tell the story of how he got his blaster, how he got the Millennium Falcon, how he met Chewie. The story behind the Millennium Falcon and meeting Chewbacca was pretty cool, but the other stuff was dumb. Getting his blaster, you saw in the trailer. Woody Harrelson gives it to him. That's pretty much it. Speaking of characters not found in the original trilogy, they treat them the same way they treated characters from Rogue One who didn't appear in the original trilogy. Take away from that what you will, but we don't really get a whole lot of time to care for them. It's just use them for this particular scene and then back to focusing on Solo and Chewie. And also, turns out Han's last name isn't even Solo. It was just a name that he was randomly given at one point because, well, he was by himself. There was this twist at the end, and after that, it was sort of like, well, who's the villain of the story then? Certainly not Dryden Voss. Sure, he was a galactic gangster, but he mostly just loomed in the background. He never really felt like a presence in the movie or a threat to our heroes. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say we didn't need a Solo spin-off. That's not saying this movie isn't any good, but considering how close it was released to The Last Jedi, and due to some of the fan backlash because of The Last Jedi, it's not hard to see why it didn't do so well on opening weekend. If you don't even wait a full year before giving us your next movie, you're asking for trouble. You put it out within a few months of each other, it does badly on opening weekend, you over-budget it doesn't do so well, then people wonder, oh, why did it do so badly? Franchise fatigue will happen no matter how popular a franchise may be. Sure, the MCU pushes out a movie every 2 or 3 months, and they're the most successful movie franchise in history, but They've earned that privilege. Remember the Edward Norton Hulk movie? That came out a month after Iron Man. And look what happened there. James Bond avoided franchise fatigue despite going on for 50 years because they treat each movie as something special. Rather than a cheap product to quickly push out into the market, they treat it as if they're going to make the last James Bond movie ever. It may not always work, but at least they put attention and care into it and give the fans a break. That being said, I do hope Solo gets the love that it deserves. It's not perfect, but it is worth seeing at least once in theaters. Alright, that's my review of Solo. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Leave your answer by commenting down below. Subscribe and hit the bell icon if you're new here. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And as always, this is the Canadian Movie Buff saying I hope you had a fantastic weekend at the movies. See ya!